If you have never seen a man who is madly in love with his wife, then you have not met Clinton. He followed his wife everywhere, from the kitchen to the bathroom, just to disturb her peace, all in the name of love. When Olama is cooking, Clinton must show up, either to test for salt or to grab her from behind and whisper, "A sweet woman like you not by me." Then nobody fits. He made the marriage look like a honeymoon that refused to end. But one innocent mistake from his wife almost tore the perfect heaven apart. Before the world knew Clinton as the charming, beautiful, successful businessman, before the flashy cars, the designer suits and the endless business trips, there was a version of him that only one woman knew. A version that smelled of sweat, frustration and unfulfilled dreams. Clinton was just an ordinary young man from a small town hustling his way through life with nothing but ideas and hope. He had a kind of face that carried silent ambition, but his pockets told a different story. Most days, he had to choose between eating lunch and saving transport fare for the next day. But in the middle of all his confusion, God placed one woman in his life. Olama wasn't just beautiful. The way she talked had a way of calming every storm. She had eyes that could see potentials where others saw failure. And somehow she saw something great in Clinton that even he didn't see in himself. Their love story didn't start with flowers or candlelight dinners. It started a struggle. Two young hearts building castles with faith instead of bricks. Clinton met Olama at a local food shop where he was managing to make ends meet. Most days he was covered in dust, sweat and drains. Olama was a very good customer, and so they always talked. One day, when he was counting coins to buy lunch, she looked at him and said, "Clinton, don't worry. This is not where your story ends." Those words stuck to his heart like super glue. From friends, they became lovers. From lovers, they became partners in prayers and pain. Olama stood by Clinton through his darkest seasons. When his business collapsed because his supplier ran away with his little savings, she was there. When people mocked her and said, "Now this one you say you go marry?" She didn't flinch. She only replied, "You people are seeing who he is now. I am seeing who he is becoming." Sometimes, Clinton felt unworthy of her love. He would sit alone whispering, "God, why did you give me a woman like this when I have nothing to offer?" Olama wasn't after money. She was simply after purpose. There were nights they prayed together, asking God to change their story. Then, one day, life decided to reward their patience. A friend connected Clinton to a trader in Lagos who needed someone trustworthy to help clear some goods from the ports. Clinton grabbed the opportunity, walked like a lion, and impressed everyone with his honesty. That connection became his ladder. Within a year, he started importing small gadgets, phones, accessories and rechargeable lamps. Little by little, things began to change. He moved from trekking to work to taking a bus. Then finally, he bought his first Tokunbo car. When he drove into Olama's compound that day honking joyfully, she came out and burst into tears. "You see," she said between sobs, "didn't I tell you God would do it?" Clinton couldn't hold back his tears either. He hugged her tightly and whispered, "If I ever forget what you did for me, may my God punish me." From that day, his vow to her became sacred. He would tell anyone who cared to listen. Olama didn't marry money. She married a vision. And now that the vision has paid off, she must enjoy it, whether the devil likes it or yes. He bought her clothes she never thought she could own. He opened a hair business for her so she could have her own money. When Olama gave birth to the first child, he became a full-time house clown. He couldn't stop kissing the baby's cheeks or dancing around the house like a man who had just won a lottery. Even when the baby cried at night, he would wake up first, run to the cot and carry the baby because he didn't want his queen to do it alone. He was such an intentional husband and a present father. Then, just as the excitement of baby number one was settling, Olama was pregnant again. When she told Clinton, He dropped the spoon of rice he was eating and shouted, "Ah, wait. You mean another one is already on the way?" Olama laughed till she had tears in her eyes. "Yes now, and all thanks to you. You no go ever allow me rest. Shebi your eyes don't clear now." Clinton couldn't hide the shock, but neither could he hide his joy. This one don't pass Irish twins, so let me just call it express delivery. They laughed, but deep down he was also worried. Olama had barely recovered from her first childbirth, and now another baby was already forming. The next few months were tougher than they expected. Olama was running her business, taking care of a crawling baby and carrying another pregnancy all at once. There were days Clinton would come home and find her dozing on the couch tired and baby milk spilled beside her. He would quietly lift the baby, clean up the mess and just sit beside her, staring at her tired but still beautiful face. Sometimes she would wake up and murmur, "Clinton, I am sorry. I was just..." And he would hush her. "Shh, don't ever apologize for this. Putting you through this journey where your body hadn't fully recovered is another stress." When the second baby arrived, Clinton was over the moon. He couldn't stop thanking God. His home was now full, noisy, messy, and beautiful. But with two babies under 1 year, even love started to feel like hard work. The cries never seemed to stop. Diapers, wipes, rattles, and baby sauce were now the new home decor. At first, Clinton tried to help with everything, bathing one baby while Lama fed the other, washing plates after the dinner, but it became too much. He was managing his importation business and still trying to be a hands-on husband. He could see the stress wearing Olama down. Her once vibrant face began to look pale. She rarely had time to eat properly and sometimes she forgot to even brush. One afternoon he came home early from work and met her crying. He stood there and stared. Something broke inside him. He remembered the woman who used to dress neatly, who always had her hair made and who smiled easily. Now she looked drained, like she was running on empty. He sat beside her and said, "Dear, I am sorry for putting you through all this. I promise to lessen the load as soon as possible. I see how you struggle. I can't let you burn out like this. I have made up my mind. We are getting a maid." Olama looked up sharply. "A maid?" "Yes," he said firmly. "Someone to help with the babies, the laundry, the cooking and all. That will give you time to rest." At first she resisted. "You know I'm not used to people living with us. What if she doesn't take care of the children well?" Clinton reached for her hand. "Dear, you will choose carefully. I will make sure she's distant and respectful. I just want you to breathe again." After 2 weeks of searching, they finally found one. Her name was Amarachi, a 21-year-old lady from the village. From the first day, she came with humility written all over her face. She worked quietly, never argued, and was always eager to learn. Within days, the difference in the house was clear. Olama began to rest more. The babies were well fed, the laundry neatly folded, and the kitchen sparkled like new. Clinton noticed that his wife's laughter returned. Her glow came back. Sometimes she even dressed up again, not because she was going out, but just to feel like herself. The house became lively again. Clinton and Olama could finally sit in the living room and talk like old times. They would share stories, tease each other, and talk about their businesses. Their romance also reignited. Whenever Olama was in the kitchen cooking, Clinton was strolling quietly and wrap his arms around her waist from behind. She would jump up playfully. "Clinton, you will burn me one day, oh." He will laugh and whisper, "If you don't like it, then stop looking beautiful." Then she would turn around, pretend to frown, and both would burst into laughter. Their love felt new again. Sweet, spicy, and beautiful. Even Amara sometimes smiled shyly when she saw how much they adored each other. Everything was perfect. By the time their babies turned 1 and 2, the house had become a small kingdom of joy. Everywhere you turned, there was either laughter or music. Clinton made a personal rule for himself, never to let a day end without making his wife laugh. Sometimes he would come back from work, drop his laptop back and sneak into the kitchen like a mischievous teenager. Olama would be there stirring the soup focused. Clinton would tiptoe and do what he knows how best to do. She would squeal and slap his arm playfully. Dear, how many times will I warn you to stop sneaking into my kitchen like a rat? I am sorry, my love. Forgive this your coconut-head husband, he will reply. Sometimes after dinner, Clinton will sit in the living room, his 2 sons scattering everywhere. He will say, see these 2 Irish twins, so one day they will grow up and start chasing girls, but no girl will ever find past their mama. And Olama will shake her head laughing. Flatterer, you and this your sweet mouth. That was how you deceived me years ago. It wasn't deception, my love, he would say, stretching his legs. It was prophecy. Their marriage was such a good one to emulate. They treated the maid very well. Clinton would never eat without asking if Amara had eaten, and anywhere they went, she was with them instead of being alone in the house. To Clinton, that house was a small version of heaven, and he meant it when he said he would do anything to keep it that way. He watched Olama blossom into the woman he always dreamed she would become. Her hair business was doing so well. She now had 2 assistants and had started ushering from Vietnam. Her confidence grew every day, and Clinton was so proud. Sometimes, when those apropos people want to corrupt his minds on the danger of having a successful wife, he will school them by saying, it is my pride that she is succeeding. She is addressed as Mrs. Clinton, not Mrs. Ajidwa. Do you know how many people admired me for taking care of my wife? And come on now, have you seen where that woman is praying for me? It is always from her soul. Let me just tell you straight up. If your wife shines, your house will never be dark. If the apropos people teased further, Clinton, you don't know for woman hand though. Oh, he will respond proudly. If loving my wife makes me one, then I love that title. It was pure, unfiltered, and godly love. Until one day when Olama made a small decision that looked harmless, but at the same time caused the biggest confusion of their marriage. One Saturday morning, Clinton had gone to the car wash while Olama was arranging her wardrobe. She had just bought new clothes and needed to create space. Amara came into the room with folded laundry. Madam, where should I put these ones? She asked politely. Olama looked at the pile and sighed. These old clothes have taken over my wardrobe. Then, as a kind gesture, she began to separate some. Amara, these gowns and blouses no longer fit me. You can have them. Take whichever you like. Amara's eyes widened. Madam, God bless you, ma. Thank you so much, ma. Olama smiled, completely unaware she had just planted the seed of trouble. It's nothing. You have been good to us. You deserve good things as well. Amara folded the clothes neatly and thanked her again, almost kneeling. She went to have her bath, and as expected, she wore one of the gifted gowns. To make things more confusing, she tied her hair exactly the way Olama did. When Clinton came home, the house was quiet except for the aroma from the kitchen. Coincidentally, it was his wife's favorite. He dropped his car key. The sight from the doorway melted his heart. His wife his wife in his head, standing at the gas cooker, wearing that red gown that always drove him crazy. Without thinking, he smiled mischievously and tiptoed behind her. He wrapped his arms around her waist, rested his chin on her shoulder, and whispered in that soft, teasing tone, baby, this your food is smelling so nice. Before Amara could react, his hand had already playfully tapped her backside, the usual husband and wife joke. But instead of laughter, there was a loud gasp. Jesus! Oga! Clinton froze. He turned and his heart dropped. It wasn't Olama, it was Amara the maid. Both of them stood in shock. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. Then, like a scene from a slow motion movie, the kitchen door opened and Olama walked in. She stared, confused, trying to understand what she was saying. Clinton's brain was shouting, "Say something," but his tongue refused to obey. The silence was so heavy. Then Clinton found his voice after a few minutes, slow, shaking and broken. "Olama, it's not what you think." Amara immediately knelt down, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Madam, please forgive me. I didn't do anything. Olga thought it was you." Clinton took a step forward, his hands trembling. "Baby, listen to me, please. I swore on everything I hold sacred. It was a mistake." Olama finally blinked, her voice barely above a whisper. "A mistake?" Her tone wasn't angry. It was calm, the kind of calm that scared more than shouting ever could. She looked at Amara again, and then at the gown. Her gown. Suddenly, it all connected. The same red gown she had given away that morning. Her throat went dry. Clinton ran his hands over his head, pacing like a man who had just committed murder. "Olama, I swear, I didn't even look properly. I just entered, saw someone wearing your gown and thought." He couldn't even finish the sentence. The shame burned too deep. Olama said, "I know, Clinton. I know you didn't mean to." Her voice was calm, but her eyes were glassy. You could tell something inside her had cracked. She turned to Amara. "It's fine. Just finish what you were doing," and then she walked away. Clinton followed immediately, his heart pounding. He found her sitting on the edge of the bed, staring into nothing. "Olama," he whispered, kneeling beside her. "Please, don't let this moment erase everything we have built." She turned to him slowly. "Clinton, do you think I'm angry?" He hesitated. "You should be." "But I'm not," she answered, "because I know the man I married. You are not careless and you are not unfaithful. I made the mistake of giving out the dress without telling you. That night, sleep refused to come." Clinton lay beside her, wide awake, haunted by guilt. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Amara's terrified face. He saw Olama's eyes, gentle but wounded. He whispered to himself over and over again, "God, what have I done?" By morning, his eyes were red and swollen. He went to the living room and sat there until Olama joined him with the babies. She tried to talk to him so he could regain his spark, but it was difficult for him because he felt he had done the abominable. For weeks, he could not laugh. Even when Olama cracked jokes or the babies did something funny, he would only smile faintly and look away. He was still fighting himself. Why didn't I look? That was avoidable, boy, but your play made you grab something that is not yours. Olama tried everything. She cooked his favorite meals, played his favorite songs, even brought back the playful tone they used to share in the kitchen. Yet, she could feel the distance in his eyes. One night she asked, "Clinton, how long will you keep punishing yourself? Didn't I forgive you?" He sighed. "It's not about forgiveness, my darling. It's about shame. I feel like I failed you, and at the same time, I failed us." "Darling, you didn't fail," she whispered. "You just stumbled, and there is a huge difference." He turned to her. "Do you know what hurts me most? The fact that it happened in that kitchen. I mean, our kitchen. The same place we built memories. Now, every time I walk in there, I remember that moment." Olama reached for his hand. "Then we will build new memories there, stronger ones this time." The next day, she started her mission. She made sure every evening they cooked together again, even if for just boiling rice or making tea. At first, Clinton hesitated. He would linger by the door with his arms folded, afraid of touching anything that could trigger the memory. But Olama was patient. Gradually, the laughter began to return, but each time he walks into the kitchen, he calls her name just to be sure she was the one. In all of this, whenever Clinton saw Amara, he felt a pang of sadness. He couldn't take it anymore, so they had to send Amara away with a huge amount of money. The girl was so sad because they treated her so well. But then, Clinton wasn't ready to use emotions. He loved his wife above those tears, and that decision was upheld. That was the last time they had a Maid because he wasn't ready for any story that touches the heart. One evening, while watching TV, Olama rested her head on his shoulder and whispered, "You know, I am glad it happened." Clinton turned to her startled. "Glad what happened?" "That mistake," she said, "because it reminded me that we are humans, and it showed me how much you truly value me. It also taught me to be careful with my kindness." From that day, she became mindful. She realized that sometimes even kindness needs boundaries. She stopped giving her clothes away randomly and became more careful about what went on in the house. But most importantly, she became more vocal about appreciating Clinton's efforts. Sometimes she would stop whatever she was doing, walk up to him and say, "Thank you, dear, for loving me this way." Their children began to grow into the love they saw. Little Chima once said in his baby voice, "Daddy always washed plates for mommy because he loves her so much." Her parents laughed, but deep inside, that sentence became Clinton's biggest medal. One day, something funny happened. Olama was cooking in the kitchen wearing one of her new dresses. Clinton returned home, perceived the aroma and smiled mischievously. The playful spirit that defined their marriage before the incident suddenly took over him again. He tiptoed towards the kitchen but stopped at the door, cleared his throat and called her dramatically, "Olama, confirm that you are the one there before I enter, because I have not seen this dress before." She laughed so hard. Clinton, "So you will not forget what had happened, right?" "Never, he shouted, laughing. Once beaten, forever alert. Even the children joined the laughter. She looked at him, the same man who once had nothing but dreams and dusty shoes. Now her Odogu, full of peace, humility and joy. Her heart swelled with gratitude. "Clinton," she said, "if I had to start all over again, I would choose you over and over again." The way she said it, Clinton turned off the gas, carried her into the master bedroom, and shut the door on all of us. And that was how Clinton and Olama rebuilt the heaven from the ashes of one innocent mistake. Hey, African Tales by Karma Tribe, how are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. Did you enjoy the story as much as I did? Alright, for today we are going to be having a conversation in the comments. So I ask, do you think Clinton did the right thing by sending Amara away, or did he overreact? Should he have kept her since it was just a harmless mistake, or was it wise of him to protect his marriage by cutting off temptation completely? If you were in his shoes, would you have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts with me in the comments, as I will be so glad to read from you, and I promise I'll be responding to everyone as I always did. Can you give the story a thumbs up, share out to your loved ones, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, come on, what are you waiting for? Punch that subscribe button so that you can join the Karma Tribe. And until I bring the next interesting story your way, it is a goodbye from here, and God bless you.